In the plenary just now, you heard how electrified cars are the future, but they are also the past. 150 years ago, batteries competed with the internal combustion engine, and it won because fossil fuels have better power density. A global refueling network was created from scratch, and the age of petrol and diesel began. But now, the story has changed. As we worry about emissions, we now have improved electrified technologies. Electrified age has begun. Even before electrification became the trend, Toyota had planned for this future. We launched the Prius, our first hybrid, last century. And since 1997, we have sold more than 16 million hybrid cars around the world. In 2014, we introduced the first fuel cell car, the Mirai. A year later, we promised to reduce our Toyota emission by 90%. And by 2025, we expect to sell 5.5 million electrified cars every year. That means we will be able to offer our customers more than 60 new electrified choices. But then, less than 10% of our sales will not be electrified. But whatever happens between now and 2025, we have hybrid now. It reduces Toyota and Lexus emissions by more than 30% compared to petrol, and requires no special infrastructure. It's also an affordable option with a low cost of ownership. Each year, we invest 40% of our R&D expense to new technologies, such as powertrains of the future, to grow the market. We share many of our patents without charge and form partnerships which help us change from a car maker to a mobility company. But to cover every mobility need and customer demand, we need to deliver a huge variety of affordable models. To address these needs and demand, we created the ZEB factory that I ran in Japan, where we plan and develop our zero-emission vehicles, from small mobility to larger vehicles. In total, we are working on 6 models, either pure Toyotas or in partnership with others. A world of electrified car and truck requires a new business model built on the idea of vehicle life cycle value. To stay profitable, car companies and these dealers need to keep every vehicle within the brand, providing service across the entire life cycle. Our job is to produce vehicles which support this new world. We are building all our battery electric models on the electrified version of TNGA, the modular production platform you heard about earlier. eTNGA ensures every vehicle has the same fixed layout for key components. This lets us create different combinations depending on the power control unit and motor required. A front motor, for instance, allows front wheel drive. A back motor supports rear wheel drive. And if we use both, we enable all-wheel driving. This combination of consistency and flexibility let us produce many variants efficiently. Once the modules are developed, we can shorten the development of different variants and develop them in parallel. We can create Toyotas for the mainstream, but also Lexus adding the distinctly premium identity and driving style, Lexus Electrified. Our first eTNGA models has already been developed. and is now being made ready for manufacture. Now, I do have a special surprise for you. It's a real privilege to be able to show you the first sketch of this car. This is all very exciting, but I have not yet mentioned the most important part of electrification, the batteries. With hybrid, we use a small, light, compact battery, which provides a high efficiency at low cost. But pure electric cars need bigger batteries. So our challenge is to scale quality and durability and minimize the cost. Hybrid has taught us so much about charging and discharging. Our plug-in produce longer range than our competitors, using the same battery capacity. So we are transferring this knowledge to battery electrics to increase this range and reduce their impact on the planet. That includes maintaining battery life when a car is resolved or recycling it. We are working with partners on new type of battery with the aim of increasing supply capacity and reducing cost. In fact, our last joint venture with Panasonic aims to boost efficiency of development and production process by 10 times. And we are also working on new battery technology, like solid-state batteries, which generate more power from smaller, light pack. These solid-state batteries recharge much faster than liquid-type batteries. We expect to introduce the first mass-produced electrified vehicle using a solid-state battery in the first half of 2020s. Now my colleague, Andrea Carucci, will continue the electrifying story.
Thank you, Toyoshima-san. Earlier, Dr. Van Zel talked about global demand for hybrids and plug-in hybrids rising 600% in the next 5 years. And we are starting from a high baseline. Here in Europe, electrified cars represent 11.9% of total car sales. Hybrid represents 36% of all electrified sales right now. And if you look more widely, plug-in is 29% and pure battery electric 35%, with 5 countries leading the charge, representing 3/4 of the total sales, driven by strong incentives. So, as of 2020, Toyota has 21% share of Europe's increasingly electrified market. In terms of our own brands, more than 50% of the cars we sell across the EU are hybrids, and even more than 60% when we consider West and Central Europe, so far in 2020. And that figures will grow to 68% next year, thanks to the full year of new Yaris sales and the introduction of Yaris Cross and Highlander. In fact, some Toyota models are almost exclusively hybrid sales, like the new Yaris with 87% of hybrid. And as you heard from Dr. Van Zel, 96% of Lexus sales are hybrid. Customers do love our hybrid models for their accessibility, their affordability, and also because of their drivability. And because of this popularity, excellent sales of electrified products have seen us strongly reduce CO2 year on year and beat our target. Of course, we are not standing still. We continue to improve our hybrid offer, introducing new models, adding extra engines to existing models and offering all-wheel drive options. Next year, we will launch Yaris Cross and Highlander, combining hybrid with Toyota's long SUV heritage. This means our customer will be able to choose a hybrid SUV of virtually any size across all the key market segments, B, C, D, and E. Alongside these pure hybrid innovations, We are also expanding our plug-in hybrid range. For instance, some of you may have already driven the new RAV4 plug-in, which earned extremely positive reviews. A lot of this was down to its performance, allied to frugal fuel consumption, plus CO2 emissions of less than 22 grams per kilometer. Another talking point was the pure electric range of 75 kilometers, achievable in real-life conditions. After the successful launch in the Nordics, Iceland, France, Germany and Switzerland, we are now ready to roll out the RAV4 plug-in hybrid to other markets where PHEV technology is gaining more importance and strategic incentive are set in place. This is the case of Italy, UK, Poland, Spain, Ukraine and Portugal. Some people say Toyota is behind the curve on battery electrics, but we have always taken a considered, measured approach to alternative fuel vehicles. Our strategy has been to lead with hybrid, and it's hard to argue. With 60 million hybrid sales worldwide, 3 million of which are here in Europe. That's allowed us to hit tough emission target without having to make a sudden early move into battery electric powertrains. However, hybrid success has given us the foundations we need for other electrified powertrains, which will be introduced when the time, the market, and the infrastructure are right. And the time is getting closer. We are now seeing demand begin to grow in some markets especially, which explains why we are starting to roll out our own battery electric vehicles. We started with Pro Ace this year, and we'll add Pro Ace City battery electric in 2021. Alongside, it will be our first ever pure electric car developed specifically for Europe. This will be a mid-size SUV around the RAV4 size and built on an eTNGA dedicated platform shared with Subaru. Please stay tuned. You will know more in course of next year. This is the first Toyota to use the vehicle lifecycle value business model that Toyoshima-san has explained just now. Value has been built into every stage of the life cycle, from sales to mobility services and resale to recycling. But for now, I would like to leave you with a simple thought. Toyota led the way of electrification through hybrid. We have now promised to move beyond zero, which is illustrated by the new Mirai that cleans the air when driven. This is true leadership. The strategy we have laid out is how we will continue to lead electrifying the future of mobility across Europe. Thank you very much.